I plan to do tutorials on how to do different things for you to set your environment using Laravel, Vue, Vuex, for the front end, obviously, setting up your servers. So I intend to help you using different technologies, also Go, Node, just plain JavaScript, and some other things, HTML, CSS, everything you can think of as far as like a full stack developer will need. So in this episode, which is my first episode, I'm going to be showing you how to set up a multi-site Laradock environment. So if you are using or you plan on using Docker for your Laravel environment, some of the advantages for that include easy deployment, easy development environments, and then also being able to have the same environment across multiple computers. So if you have a Linux, you have a Windows, or you have a Mac, you can have the same exact environment. Or if you have a team of developers and you want everybody to have the same PHP version, Node version, then this is what I recommend for you to be able to do that. So for starters, we're going to go into the Laradock's website. You're going to have an introduction. You can read it if you want to. So basically it allows you to use different varieties of services, all common to the Laravel environment. And I'm going to skip right into getting started. You're going to scroll down over here at git clone. So you're cloning this repository right here into your local machine. And the way I do it, the way you see it here is like this. So the structure I have is I have a Laradock folder, and then right next to it I have all the websites that I run. So if you will go back here, right here I have Laradock, and then everything else that I usually use within this environment. So I like to keep everything inside sites. You can use something else, but I recommend you have them all. For this purpose though, if you want to run multiple websites with Laradock, then you need to have them adjacent to that in the same parent directory. Why? Because that's going to be mapped for your environment already. So we create a directory, something like Laradock. That's going to create a directory right here, and then we're going to do that and with a dot at the end, so it's going to install it right in this same directory. And you're going to end up with something like this, where you have all the services and all the different directories and containers that you need and configurations that you need for you to run your Laradock environment in your machine. So once you do that, we're going to be going inside of, I think it doesn't come with a configuration file, so you'll need to do the same thing that you used to do with Laravel. I didn't see it last time, but you're gonna have to cp the environment example into .env. So it's very similar to how Laravel is set up, where you have an environment file. This environment file has all the different services that you're gonna be using, and the reason I'm pointing you here is because right here, if you look at MySQL, actually, let me keep looking for that. Next, right here. So in the MySQL section, this comes, you're going to see it as latest. So you need to change that to 5.7 if you want, or anything else if you want to use another version of MySQL. I also changed the port, so I'm using 33060 instead of 3306. One more thing you may want to do is check the PHP version. So right here, you can use, instead of 7.3, 7.4, 7.2, so anything that you see right here, you can use them. In this case, I am using 7.3. And then, say for example, you want to use some service like FFmpeg. Actually, it's case sensitive. So if you want to use FFmpeg, you gotta go over here and set it to true, as well as some other services that the instance has. You don't need them all, but as you need them, I recommend you start checking them. So if you're doing like WordPress, then you can do something like true here. MS SQL, so same thing. Cassandra, so it's got all these services that by default are false, so basically they're not being installed, but you can just check it and install them. So okay, once you have that set up, Then you're gonna go into Nginx. So basically Nginx is gonna come with the site's configuration. This is very similar to when you're setting up an Nginx environment on your server. So if you go Nginx sites, you're gonna see that right here you have an example. And what I've already done is I came here and I did cp Nginx sites and then block. So I copied that and do it again, sites block, so I can show you. So I don't run this, so I only listen to port 80. I don't have IPv6 set up, so for some reason that broke and I just leave it like that. And instead of app.test, I'm going to do blog public, which is where the Laravel application is pointed to. Same thing, I'm going to do blog.test, make sure everything else looks fine. As far as where you're going to do the logging, so probably within the same. Actually, let's just leave it in Nginx, let's just change the name right here. Blog. Okay, so yeah, like that. So we are good to go. We have set up that configuration file, and as you can see, I have some other configuration files in there that I am already using, and this is how I can do multiple websites within the same environment. So I just need to do map it once I have it set up. So here you go to the blog. That already has a Laravel installation, and if you go into Laravel installation, so right here, and you scroll, you can either install the global composer required Laravel installer and then use it like this, or you can install it like this, and this is what I used. So I went inside sites, I ran this, and that created this. So this is a brand new Laravel install. And then if I go inside the environment, some things you're going to keep in mind is inside Docker, every single container is already mapped to the IP. So instead of you using localhost or 127.0.0.1, you do MySQL. That name is already mapped inside of Docker. Same thing with Redis. Redis host is Redis. You may want to use this. Redis client equals Redis. And for now, this is pretty much what we need. Maybe, let me see, maybe we want to change the name. Yep. And we also want to change this. Instead of localhost, we're going to be doing blog.test. Okay, so that looks good. Now that I'm inside my blog, it should not be running yet because I don't have it mapped, and at the same time I have not updated Docker. So here is where I'm going to go a little bit about the services that I personally use. If you go inside of your Docker icon over here, and this, if you want to see, I'm going to do another tutorial on how to install Docker, but basically you can use brew, or you can go inside of the Docker website and just install Docker right here. Docker, just do download Docker. It's going to show you right into the products website where you're going to be able to download it for your Mac. You install it, and it's going to give you something like this, where you're going to be able to go inside your dashboard, and then you're going to be able to see all the containers that are orchestrated within this whole build for Laradock. So what I'm using is Nginx, MySQL, Redis, Mailhub. This comes by default. Workspace, this comes by default. PHP Worker, PHP FPM. The workspace is what allows you to SSH into your machine to be able to run Composer and NPM and different things. You can run NPM outside, but I like to do it from inside to keep the same version. You can also do Laravel Echo Server. I don't have it on this right now. And the way I run them, I already have a command set up for that. So because I ended up doing this a lot, I created an alias, and what that looks like is like this. So I call it Docker init, and it's equals to Docker compose up detach MySQL, Nginx, PHP Worker, Redis, Laravel Echo Server, Workspace, and MailHub. So these are the services that I have set up for this particular Docker instance. And if I do Docker init, the beauty about that is that if I do Docker init, it's gonna detect, it's gonna run that same command that I just showed you, but at the same time it's gonna detect, actually I need to do it inside Laradock, if it needs to be rebuilt. So basically, because I did add another site configuration, it's going to go in and rebuild that for us, and this is how it looks. So basically it's the same as me running Docker compose up detach MailHub, Docker, MySQL, Redis, Workspace, all of that.